begin.
Welcome everybody to wisetake.com MMA DFS podcast. I'm your host, Jeff, aka Wigsplitter. Saturday night features another solid MMA DFS card for covering UFC Fight Night 121, Werdum versus Tybura. If you're not already a subscriber, head on over to wisetake.com and check out our MMA package. It's only $6.99 and it entails you to our members-only chat, also a premium article detailing strategy for your DraftKings lineup build. In fact, we are currently running a free trial promotion for our $29.99 monthly plan. Sign up and get a free 7-day access to all the premium content covering NBA, NFL, and MMA. And if for some reason you are not satisfied, you can cancel within the 7 days and you will not be charged. Before we jump into UFC Fight Night 121, I want to go over quickly the previous fight card, which was Poirier versus Pettis. I was 7-6 overall. I was not expecting a couple of the decisions to go against me. Actually, I wasn't expecting Poirier to completely dominate Pettis. But, wow, that was a vicious elbow that took him out. Arlovsky, normally he's chinny, and he ended up putting on a striking performance that was just reminiscent of the old Andre Arlovsky. And Guida came out with some improved striking and just totally annihilated Lhasa. Those were some of them. Also, the Moraes decision over Dodson. I'm not exactly sure how that was scored because Dodson had way more takedowns. They're pretty even on strikes. So just with more takedowns, you would think Dodson should have got the edge on the decision. Plus, with the two technical illegal strikes, the one kick to the nuggets. Either way. Moving on to the next card. Werdum versus Tybura. The first fight we have on the early prelims is Rashad Colter versus Vasa. Now, Colter, he's coming off a second-round TKO loss to Chase Sherman. He also got Fight of the Night bonus for that fight because it was just a straight-out brawl. But he did come out on the wrong side of that loss. Going up against Teodoro, he's making his UFC debut. He's a former rugby player, making his transition into MMA back in 2012. Huge, powerful striker. Both these guys are probably going to put on a show. Colter is 7,400 salary. He's plus 145 underdog, and Vasa is 8,800 salary and is a minus 165 favorite. I like Vasa to build around, but guys making their debut, it's sort of iffy. So I sort of tend to want to shy away from guys that are making their debut, but we'll see how the build goes, and I will detail my picks Friday after the weigh-ins with the premium article, as well as if you guys need any help, I will be in the premium chat, members-only chat, to help you out if you guys have any questions. Moving on to the next fight, we have Janelle Lhasa going up against Eric Shelton. Lhasa is a former Filipino professional boxer, solid power, very technical striker. Shelton, on the other hand, is a I don't know. He's weird because he's been up and down, sort of Jekyll and Hyde-ish, not very consistent. So it's almost like he fights to his opponent's level. If he does that against Lhasa, who's a very technical boxer, it could be a long night. But Shelton has very aggressive takedowns, and he has very good power. Lhasa is 7,000 salary. He's plus 290 underdog, and Shelton is $9,200 in salary, and he's a minus 350 favorite at the time of this recording. Roster building wise, Shelton, of course, is the obvious favorite because of the takedowns. Takedowns equal points, strikes. Both of them average about 2 strikes per minute. It's not like it's like a formidable, like an insurmountable amount. They're both pretty even on the striking. But Shelton does average 2.5 takedowns per match. Takedowns equals points. Points help you build your ranks when you go up in the GPPs or cash lines. But 9,200 salary, that's pretty high. So I'm going to move on to the next fight. We have Alex Chambers going up against Nadia Kassam. Chambers is a long time. She's an older fighter. She's coming off a 26-month layoff after a loss to Paige Van Sant. She has decent submission skills, average striking, averages 3 strikes per minute, 1.5 takedowns per fight. Kassam is making her debut. I couldn't really find any actual fight video footage of anybody that she's fought. She's only been in the ring a total amount of 2 minutes and 22 seconds in her total fight career. She's currently 5-0. But she has fought at 2 different weight classes, which is flyweight and strawweight. Currently undefeated. All of her stoppages have came in the first round. I think this is probably going to be a solid fight between the 2 fighters. It's pretty much a coin toss on who's going to win. Both salaries are pretty even. Chambers is 7,900. She's a plus 130 underdog. Kassam is 8,300 salary and a minus 150 favorite. Depending how the build goes, I could see trying to fit one of these 2 in, but I'm not sure if the strikes wise or point accumulation is going to be there. But we'll see how it goes. Moving on to the next fight, we have Damian Brown going up against Frank Camacho. Damian Brown is coming off a first-round KO loss by the hands of Vince Bichelle. He's very tough. He's a grinder-type fighter. Deep submission skills with average power. Going up against Frank Camacho, who's 0-1 in the UFC. He's also coming off of a loss. But he did take that fight on short notice. Has solid KO power and decent grappling. Both fighters average over 2.5 strikes, over 2 strikes per minute, and Camacho has the edge in takedowns at 1 per fight. Brown's salary is 7,800. He's a plus 110 favorite, and Camacho is 8,400 salary and minus 130 favorite. According to Vegas, it's pretty close to a pick'em. I'm diving in deep because this card is very. A lot of these fighters are pretty evenly matched, and it's going to be hard to pick to build a cash lineup. I think it's going to be more of a GPP, but both salaries are pretty even. Depending on how the roster build goes, we'll see how it ends up on Friday. Moving on to the next fight. This one has fireworks written all over it. Anthony Hamilton going up against Adam Wieczorek. Hamilton and Wieczorek were supposed to fight in the previous, or a couple cards ago, and it was rescheduled for this one. Hamilton's salary, $7,500. He's a plus 135 underdog. Wieczorek is $8,700 salary. He's a minus 155. Now, Hamilton is coming off an 18-second loss to Daniel Spitz he came in leading with his head, and dude just caught him with a straight counter. It was a nice, solid shot. Now, Wieczorek, on the other hand, is making his UFC debut. His only loss in his career came at the hands of Marcin Tybura, who's in the main event versus Fabricio Werdum. Currently on a 7-fight win streak. huge KO power. He also has slick submission skills. So I think depending on wherever the fight goes, I think he has a good chance. Hamilton is a solid grappler with very aggressive and strong. He averages 2.82 takedowns per fight, 4.47 strikes per minute. So it's one of those ones where who do you think's going to knock who out, or who do you think's going to grind the other one out is pretty much. Even though Wazorak's salary is $8,700, he's a minus 155 favorite, like I said, and Hamilton's $7,500 salary plus 135 underdog. Hamilton has a little bit of salary relief, but a little questionable on his chin, so I'm not sure how I'm leaning. I mean, Wazorak's making his debut, $8,700 salary. I'm not sure. Moving on to the next fight, we have Nick Lentz going up against Will Brooks. This fight was another fight that was rescheduled. Nick Lentz actually had to go to the hospital a day or two before the actual fight with Brooks on the previous card ago. He had issues to his weight cut. Lentz is a very frenetic fighter. He has a very fast pace, durable grinder, solid grappler, average power. Brooks, on the other hand, is former Bellator champion, very athletic, decent power. Both these guys have good takedowns. Both of them have high striking outputs. So this could be a good match. Will Brooks' salary is $9,400. He's a minus 550 favorite. Lentz, on the other hand, is $6,800 salary. He's a plus 425 underdog. So according to Vegas, it looks like it's going to be one-sided, but at the same time, you never want to count out an underdog, especially with a guy like Lentz, who has a lot of fighting experience. And Brooks, on the other hand, he's having a rough road so far on the UFC. So I want to see how the roster build goes and how I'm leaning. I want to see line movement. I want to see how the weight cut goes, see if Lentz even makes it to the fight. Moving on to the next fight, we have Ryan Benoit going up against Ashkan Mokhtarian. Benoit's 2-3 in the UFC, coming off of a split decision loss to Brandon Moreno, which was his first. This will be his first fight in 11 months. He has good KO power. 7 of his wins have came by KO. He also has average grappling skills. Doesn't have very many takedowns. Less than half of a takedown per fight. He averages 2 strikes per minute. Going up against Ashkan Mokhtarian. 0-1 in the UFC. Before his debut loss to John Moraga, he was on a 7-fight win streak. 6 of his wins came by knockout and 6 by submission. But most of his opponents that he has fought were in China and Australia. So not necessarily UFC caliber talent. But I think he has according to the video I've seen, he has average grappling skills and slightly above average power. Benoit's salary on DraftKings is $8,900. He's a minus 255 favorite. Mokhtarian is $7,300 salary, and he's a plus 215 underdog. Now, according to roster build, if I was going to go completely contrarian and just do straight underdogs, Mokhtarian would fit into that category because he does have KO power. But he is slightly unproven. But he literally lost like real bad against Moraga. Next, moving on to the next fight, the first fight on the main card, we have Alexander Volkanovski, 9,500 salary. He's a minus 600 favorite, going up against Shane Young, 6,700 salary, and he's a plus 450 underdog. Now, Shane Young is actually making his debut. He's also taken this fight on short notice. He is a former XFC champion and has, from the video I've seen, he's a stand-up striker, Stiff left jab, solid technical striking. He's probably going to want to keep the fight standing. Going up against Alexander Volkanovski. Very high volume striker. He's currently on a 2-fight winning streak. A very technical striker. He has very aggressive takedowns. Almost averages 5 takedowns per fight. 6 significant strikes per minute. Volkanovski, like I said, his salary is $9,500 and he's a -600 favorite. Shane Young has a large hill to climb against Volkanovski. Moving on to the next fight, we have Elias Teodoro going up against Daniel Kelly. Teodoro's salary is $9,000 and he's a -250 favorite, going up against Kelly, who has his salary is $7,200 and he's a +210 underdog. Daniel Kelly is the dad bod of the UFC, very unassuming. He's coming off a TKO loss to Derek Brunson. Gritty, solid grappler, good takedowns, two per fight, good significant strike output at 3.87 per minute. Teodoro is a grinding type fighter, throws kicks, likes to keep distance, throws from odd angles. He has decent takedown defense, below average takedown defense. I can see this could be one of those possible upsets of the night, where Daniel Kelly just grinds Teodoro to the mat, and but at the same time, Teodoro could just keep the fight standing and just tattoo Kelly, especially with Kelly coming off a TKO loss for Derek Brunson. Hopefully his chin isn't his weak spot. But Teodoro's salary at $9,000 and Kelly at $7,200. If you pick some of these higher guys, you're going to have to really take some flyers on the way low. So it all depends on how your roster build goes, but I can see possibly rostering one or two of these guys, either one of these guys, but I'm not sure how I'm going to go. I want to see how the weight cut goes, how the stare downs look also as well. Sometimes you can see a little bit of telling information the way they look into each other's eyes. Moving on to the next fight, we have Jake Matthews. It's $8,500 salary. He's a -145 favorite, going up against Veličković. $7,700 salary. He's a +125 underdog. Now, Matthews, he's currently on a 2-fight losing streak, and he's making the move to welterweight from the lightweight divisions, coming off a loss from Kevin Lee, and he's got very good striking and decent grappling skills. Averages 2 takedowns per fight, 3 significant strikes per minute. Veličković is coming off a decision loss to Darren Till. It's not very flashy, tends to be a slow starter. I don't want to say he's a boring fighter, but he'll stand and bang. But he'll need to figure out how to push the pace against Matthews. Roster building wise, $8,500 salary for Matthews, $7,700 for Veličković. I'm not sure, but I like both of them. Depending on how the roster build goes, I'm not really sure how I want to. I haven't even put a roster together myself yet. But moving on to the next fight, we have Tim Means going against Belal Muhammad. Now, Means is taking this fight because Belal Muhammad was technically supposed to fight Jesse Taylor. But Jesse Taylor's technically, he has a pending suspension for a USADA violation. Means is a very tough, gritty, well-rounded fighter. Throws a lot of punches. The only hole he has in this game is his ground game. Gets taken down. He can be smothered on the floor. he averages 4 significant strikes per minute, and he averages less than one takedown per fight. Now, Bilal Muhammad on the other hand, is same thing, 4 significant strikes. He's a well-rounded fighter, technical striker, above average power, and he's known to be durable. He averages 2.7 takedowns per fight. Of course, takedowns equal points. Muhammad's salary is $7,100 on DraftKings, plus 195 underdog. Means is the heavy favorite, or not heavy favorite, but he's 9,100 salary, and he's a minus 235. This fight, to me, I almost want to, if I was going to make a cash lineup, I would probably put both these guys in there just because I feel that it could go to a decision, and they could have enough strikes between the two of them to where they both score solid for your roster. You can make a good case for both of them. But of course, if it goes to a decision, you're looking at anywhere between 60 to 90 points. I don't see either of these guys getting finished, so you're gonna have to take that into account when you're doing your roster build. Now, moving on to the next fight, we have Beck Rawlings. We have Beck Rawlings, 8,600 salary, minus 155 favorite, going up against Jessica Rose Clark, 7,600 salary, plus 135 underdog. Jessica Rose Clark is actually stepping into this fight for Joanne Calderwood, who was forced out of this fight due to an injury. She did take this fight on short notice, but she was actually under contract to fight in Invicta, so she was technically in training. So it's not like she was just sitting on the sidelines waiting. She was actually in a training camp, so I don't see it being an issue making her UFC debut. She's a solid striker with above average grappling. Going up against Beck Rawlins, who's on a 2-fight losing skid, who will stand and trade. She's possibly fighting for a UFC contract. I think this is another possibility for fight of the night. Both these ladies will probably just let it all hang out, especially both of them being from Australia. They'll probably want to put on a show. Both salaries are pretty workable, but I'd like to see how everything works out after weigh-ins and stare-downs and all that fun stuff. Now, moving on to the main event, we have Fabricio Werdum going up against Marcin Tybura. Now, Fabricio Werdum is coming off a dominant win over Walt Harris, where he submitted him in the first round with some world-class jiu-jitsu. As I said in my previous article and my other pods, he's been working on his striking. He has improved striking, and he has a good job of defending to where he doesn't really put himself in too much danger of getting hit, especially after that loss to Stipe Miocic. So I think he's learned from his mistakes, and he's working on them. Werdum's salary is $9,300. He's a minus 360 favorite, going up against Tybura. 6,900 salary. He's a plus 300 underdog. Now, have you ever heard the term, he's got a puncher's chance, and Tybura does have that. He's currently on a 3-fight win streak, 2 of which are by KO. He has insane power, decent takedown defense, and he'll probably want to try to keep this fight standing, where he'll stand and trade with Werdum. Both these guys are very intriguing. It's possible I could make a GPP lineup with both, featuring Werdum, one featuring Tybura, and then go around the build that way, and then just work your way down. But it's going to be interesting to see. I like Werdum with his ever evolving MMA experience. As always, if you guys are not subscribers, like I said, we are running a monthly special. It's a 7-day free trial. You'll have free access to all the MMA content, NBA content, NFL content, members only chat, and some of the greatest DFS minds are in there. And as always, be safe out there.
Yes.